Hello Instagram, live. I have never played with the filters, so I thought I would have a go because this is what happens when you're injured and you're at home and you have a lot of time on your hands. So I thought some of you might be interested in hearing about what supplements I am taking for healing my broken ankle, which I have to remind myself is a healing ankle. I'm going to say that more than I say broken. So before New Year's Eve, I was on a very easy bike ride. I'm sad to say it was nothing spectacular. And I intentionally went into a big ditch and I didn't come out of it. And I came out of it injured. And I've just done a post about how our body releases on 3 different levels: physical, physiological, and emotional. And I definitely saw the physical release that my body went through when I had injured my ankle and hadn't quite comprehended what had happened, even though I felt and heard the crack. So my whole foot was just shaking like crazy, but because this is the work I do on processing emotions, I also know how important it is to just let that happen in its own time. And it definitely settled down after a little while. So before I dive into the supplements that I'm going to be taking and have been taking to throw everything at this injury to try and make it heal, I will let you know that I am running a free masterclass that's going to be live on Thursday the 13th of January at 11 a.m. New Zealand time. And this is where I'm going to be talking all about emotions getting stored in the body, the fascinating ways it releases, and the process that I actually use with my clients when I'm coaching them and in my groups to help them process their emotions as well. The emotions that hold them back from living their life fully physically, mentally, and just living life in general. So I weave in a lot of energetics into my work too. All right. So yeah, if you want to register for that, it's theartoflisteningtobody.com/release, or you can head to my link in my bio. It's all over my stories and on my posts. All right. So it looks like my fracture, it's on my fibula, that skinny bone on the outside of my leg near my ankle. So there's a nice little fracture through there, but it wasn't painful when it happened, and it looks like it's in pretty good alignment. And I found myself I didn't want the cast. I tried to convince the nurse not to give me a cast and let me stay in the moon boot so that I could still drive. Maybe that was the adrenaline still talking. And I have just switched to a fiberglass cast, which was amazing. I was going to wait till next week, but it is so much lighter, way more comfortable. And I am spending a lot of time on the couch with my leg elevated above my heart. And yeah, it's not so pleasant in this heat. So I am doing all the stuff like resting, making sure I'm eating really well. And I'm not typically someone who takes a lot of supplements. I have in the past taken a lot and also seen that I'm doing this because I'm not addressing the deeper root. So there's nothing wrong with taking supplements, and sometimes we do get a little bit stressed and we can take stuff that supports our body during these stressful times. But some people will treat supplements a little bit like what they do medication. I'll just take that pill and I'll feel like I'm doing something about it and I'll be all good. So I've noticed that I stop taking supplements when things are feeling really good and really relaxed. However, this fracture that I've got in my ankle, my healing ankle, I want to make sure it heals. I have decided I'm going to stay in the cast as long as they tell me to, and not push myself to go into a moon boot, because I really don't want to set myself back further with surgery. So what am I throwing at it in the hope that I give my body all of the support to heal? I have an array of supplements in front of me and I'll take you through each of them. So the first one I am taking is just a bone support. It doesn't particularly matter what brand you take, but there are different types of calcium. And so this is the Solgar one. I'm not pitching any particular brands. It was the only one that was actually available. So I was like, right, I'll have that. And I'm just taking 2 of them in the morning and 2 of them at night. And I talked a little bit about how overdoing it overdoes it the other day on one of my videos in my posts, and how I was very tempted to take more, but that is not how it works, and you should follow the instructions. So I'm taking Ultimate Bone Support, which I'm pretty sure has got like an active form of calcium, so it's easier for the body to absorb. And maybe let me know if you have broken a bone before. And I think there's a couple of people on here that have joined that I know have got a broken bone right now. I definitely have a different level of empathy for people with broken bones who, I used to see them in the clinic all the time, multiple breaks. This is my first one ever. So I am taking bone support, and it doesn't have that much vitamin D and K in it. So I've got a little bit left over, Biocentricals D3 K2 Spray. So vitamin D is really good for bone support, and K2 is really good for bone breakdown and bone building metabolism. So I have to be tempted not to spray too many sprays in my mouth, but this is what I'm taking, and it's a little bit empty. So I've got one prepped for later, the Be Pure Vitamin D Restore, which also has K2 in it. So you don't need to take both. This is just the one that I'm going to take because that was what was available in the shop for when I run out of the Biocentricals one. The other thing that I take in the morning is because I didn't have anything to make bone broth, I have bought this. I feel like it is extortionately expensive for what it is. However, I realised that I'm not currently going to go to the shop, eat a whole chicken and make the broth and all that kind of stuff. So convenience, bone broth, it's got lots of goodies in here to help heal a whole bunch of stuff. So I take a tablespoon of this in the morning, and I also add in collagen. So this is whole body collagen, Designs for Health collagen. The bone broth was Neutral Organics. I don't think it really matters any particular brand, to be honest. For example, I talked about how I don't take supplements very often. I have had this for about a year and now I'm using it. So bone broth, collagen, and it's really good just to wake up and pour hot water into this and just stave any hunger that I might have. And then I've got a homeopathic. It's the Weleda, Arnica, and Symphytum Comp. So Arnica, most people know they use it. You can use it for inflammation, so to reduce inflammation. And then Symphytum is also called bone knit. I think comfrey is its other name, and it's meant to help heal bone fractures. So I am also taking this 15 drops in a little bit of water 3 times a day. And I got the bigger bottle because I figure it's meant to take about 6 weeks for a bone to heal, but I will continue taking it beyond that because that's only when the bone's healed, and it will continue to remodel over the next 1 to 2 years. Oh, cool. So there's others on here that use whole body collagen. Alicia, we've got the same color cast. We've both got fiberglass casts on. I hope you're healing well and you're doing the Arnica, but I recommend you get the Arnica Symphytum Comp from, I'm in Wanaka, so Health 2000 has got it because it's just got that additional bone knit. And then in the, here we go. I have got Lipospheric C. So I do have some ester C in the cupboard and I'll use that when I run out of this. Lipospheric C, and I take a couple of sachets of this in the morning and I just like hold it in my mouth a little bit for about 30 seconds because that's how lipospheric stuff absorbs through the mouth, through the gums and all that kind of stuff. So I had this left over as well, very handy. And then at night time, I am taking another 2 of my bone builder, and I am taking 2 Citramag. So I love the Orthoplex Citramag. I'm not plugging any of these brands. They are just what I use. This is Magnesium Citrate, which is really great if you can tolerate magnesium citrate. So I would normally use this every night, taking 300 milligrams or 2 capsules a night to help calm my nervous system, and it helps with a really good night's sleep. My husband also uses it, and he finds that if he got woken up by our daughter or would just wake up, he would fall asleep much easier. So I generally always have this one on board, and the reason why I do like the Orthoplex one, however, you can only get it through a practitioner who stocks it, is that it's a low excipient, so it doesn't have all the other fillers that some capsules and supplements will have. So I'll talk a little bit about magnesium citrate, but I first came across this because one of the clients that I was working with had a cancer experience, was in remission, and was very conscious about what supplements they took. And so when I was talking to our supplier about this, she said this is really great. And so Orthoplex does have a lot of great supplements out there. So magnesium citrate, if you can tolerate it, it's really cheap and effective. I do have one more supplement, but let me talk about magnesium citrate while I'm on it. It's really affordable, like 120 capsules I think is about $40, and that will last me, there's 120 capsules, 60 days, 2 months for $40. However, some people can react to magnesium citrate. They get if they react to it, they can get like loose stools, diarrhea, which is obviously not very pleasant. And another thing that can happen for people is they can get really vivid dreams. Some people don't mind this, but usually if you're dreaming a lot, you're not necessarily getting the restful REM sleep, deep sleep. And I think it's called REM. And the other side effect, if magnesium citrate doesn't sit well with you, is getting nightmares. So just check in if you've taken a new supplement, and if it's magnesium citrate, if it's not sitting well with you, then there's so many different other forms, and I would normally recommend people take a magnesium bisglycinate. Now, if you're wondering, if you've been following me for a while and you're like, why are you recommending supplements? I did used to be an osteopath and a herbalist. So I sometimes talk about supplements with my clients, but always go through the emotional processing first. And then I say, mop up 95%. Well, you clear out 95% of the issues, and then you can mop up the rest with supplements and medications. All right. So the last one that I take in the evenings, I just had some of this left over, Biocentricals, Zinc Bioactive. Now, this is the white label one, which is also only available with practitioners. However, you can get other zincs over the counter. This is a zinc glycinate. So again, just like a slightly more easier to absorb form. And I just had some of this left over. So let me run through them in order, in flow. I'm taking a active magnesium calcium support for my bone to help heal this little fracture that's going on. I'm taking D3 and K2 Biocentricals Spray. When I run out of that, I've got the Be Pure one. I am taking beef bone broth, and I actually did find a frozen chicken carcass that I saved for later in the freezer, and that is boiling on the stove. And now that I'm not rushing around, I'm not burning things on the stove, so I'm going to enjoy some of that later. I'm taking the whole body collagen. I think Nutri-Organics does some good collagen as well. I'm taking the homeopathic Weleda Arnica and Symphytum Comp to help knit the bone and reduce inflammation. Magnesium citrate, because that actually works all right for me. If you react, there are alternatives of magnesium. Magnesium is really good for calcium metabolism, which our bones also need. I'm taking 2,000 milligrams of Lipospheric C. You don't have to take Lipospheric C. It is also one of those extortionately expensive supplements. So if you can just get your hands on some vitamin C, I think that's good enough. And I am taking zinc in the evening. So I'm on the verge of rattling, but I feel pretty good at taking these at the moment. I wouldn't normally take all of this stuff. It's just that I have had an accident. I have broken my fibula, my ankle, which is healing. And I want to make sure that I treat it really well amongst my lots of rest. I'm spending lots of time on the couch, leg elevated, and also eating really well and asking for help. I've got my friends, lovely 2 boys, they're 10 and 12. They come over every morning and they water my garden. And because I'm home alone at the moment, my husband and daughter have gone away, and everyone's saying, oh, they've got to come back. I'm like, no, please, I don't want them to come back. They're actually coming back for overnight tomorrow. I'm like, come back late and leave really early in the morning, because I'm doing a working week with one of my good friends. So yeah, my friend's two sons are coming around. They help water the garden, occasionally take the bins out, take Lola for a walk, and yeah, just that. My cleaner is coming a little bit more often and helping with washing, and I am doing these My Food Bag meals at the moment. She's going to help make them up. I don't mind making them up every now and then, but I just did notice I was getting a little bit lazy with the rest. Lazy with the rest, it's a bit of an doesn't make sense, but probably not elevating as much, and I was feeling my leg getting really swollen and heavy. That's not many. You don't think that's many supplements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I guess it's not many. And quite often when I am seeing clients, they are sometimes just taking so many, and if it doesn't feel right, I get them to come off them. We do the emotional work and they find that they didn't really ever need them, or they just get to refine what they're taking. So yeah, I'm sharing this with you because, yeah, catch yourself if you are taking loads of supplements and the reason for it. I only plan on taking these for the next few months or so. And I have ordered another thing called a QRS mat. I don't really know what it is. An osteo friend of mine saw my injury on my Facebook page and she recommended that I get one, and I trust her. So I looked into renting one for a period of time, but I am really big into self-care, particularly when I am putting new stuff out there. I talked about the masterclass that I'm running on Thursday if you want to come. And I would usually get massages every week. I had just started horse riding a couple of times a week. I had also bought my new bike that I fell off and was planning on going on adventures, and I was going to ride with my friend this week. And I also started with a personal trainer at the end of December. So I decided I'm just going to go out on a limb and I'm going to order this QRS mat, which is something to do with electromagnetic fields. I will do more posts on it when I get it, and I figured I'm just going to buy it and use it. It's got a whole bunch of benefits, apparently, and my husband and my daughter can use it as well. So it's this mat, you can lie on it, you can sleep on it. There's like this little pillow, so I can wrap it around the cast, it'll go through the cast, and there's this little pen thing as well. So I'm borrowing a friend's mat at the moment, which is very similar, but I talked about this in my overdoes it video, which you'll see on my grid recently, and turned the dial up and started cooking myself because it's a bit of a sauna mat. And so the heat hasn't been amazing with this cast on. I wake up very dehydrated, even though I put it on a very low setting, and I can feel the swelling going on in my body as my body is probably dealing with this injury and trying to focus on healing it. So I will post about the QRS mat when I get it to share with you. And I am hoping I'm getting an x-ray done next Friday. So this is going to be just over 2 weeks after the injury. They'll be able to do it through the cast apparently. And I will see what state my bone is in. But I am visualizing that it is going to look like it's knitting together. And I'm going to be patient and I'm not going to push myself to go into a moon boot, because the worst thing would be pushing it, overdoing it, overdoes it, and not being able to, setting myself back or risking having to have surgery. However, it looks like it's in good alignment, which I'm very grateful for. But I am taking these supplements at the moment for this period of time to try and support my body, and then I will slowly wean off them and start to go and get some osteo treatment, go and get some rehab. When I had the other cast cut off, my calf is already looking very skinny. So it will be quite a journey. And I do remember that when I was an osteopath, I said, oh, wouldn't it be great to experience every single type of injury and disease just for 24 hours so that I could really empathize with my clients? Be careful what you wish for. 24 hours is quite a long time. So yeah, for those of you who have had broken bones and are currently healing from a broken bone, I hope that you are healing well, and I hope that maybe you've got some suggestions of some supplements that might help you. Of course, if you've got any medical conditions or you're not too sure, it is great if you can get advice from a practitioner. And some of the ones that I have shown you are practitioner brands. And yeah, do what you can to heal yourself, but also do a lot of work around preventing injury. So I did mention that I feel like I could do a whole podcast about this ankle thing. And of course, everyone in my world who knows me is like, this is funny, not funny. I'm like, yeah, I totally get it. But I'm embracing this. I'm really enjoying just being on the couch and having heaps of time. I don't mind that I'm in this situation. And yeah, it's going to be healing. So send me healing vibes. That's also going to help me. Try some EFT tapping, emotional freedom technique. Yes, I might YouTube some bone healing EFT and see how that goes. All right, lovely to see you, and make sure that you have registered for my free live masterclass on Thursday, 13th of January, 11 a.m. New Zealand time, which is going to be Wednesday for those of you UK, Canada, Europe. It's friendly for UK time. It's about 10 p.m. There is going to be a replay, but I so encourage you to come live because there's a different energy about live and being in these groups. And I do actually speak to you, and I'm going to allow plenty of Q&A time. I'm going to be going over how emotions store in the body, talking about trauma, emotional release, but it's not just emotional. It's physical, it's physiological, and it's emotional. And really sort of break down stuff in a really simple to understand way, because there are so many people that have awareness about how trauma and emotional experiences in our life store emotions in our body and how it can manifest on so many different levels, not just physical. So I'm going to be talking about that, and I'm actually going to take you through the process that I use with my clients, which is a verbal dialogue process with prompts on how I get people to process their emotions. So I would love you to join me live for that. Register, links in the bio, theartoflisteningtobody.com/release, and we will go from there. Thanks everyone. Bye.